2010, when iPads started flying off the shelves and the entire world was busy trying to grab one. Steve Jobs, the man who transformed the world through gadgets like iPads, iPhones and MacBooks, when asked during an interview whether his kids have access to Apple products at home, he said, and I quote, "They haven't used it and we limit how much technology our kids use at home." Fast forward to today, children as young as 3.5 years old could be seen fiddling with an iPad. Integration of technology in schools and colleges has become the yardstick to gauge the quality of education imparted in schools. That is what we are debating in studio today, whether technology is a boon or bane for students. I'm joined by Anirban, Ashoka University Economics and Finance student, and on my left I'm joined by Prateek, a BITS Pilani graduate. Well, Anirban, my first question is for you. Now, asking questions thanks to technology is not anymore an embarrassing situation. Can't ask the teacher, feeling shy, ask Google.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have about a minute to make your point.
Yeah, absolutely, Abhishek. Whatever you said makes sense. I mean, now we have, so as of now, the question doesn't confine to whether technology is a boon or bane to students. It's more of what kind of technology is a boon and what kind of technology is a bane. Most of the technology we use is a boon, and on coming back to the questions part, absolutely, the internet gives you a space to ask questions, even if you're embarrassed about asking certain kinds of questions. There is a anonymity aspect to it. Take for example Quora. I mean, it's a brilliant site. You can have you can get access to people from all over the world. Ask, say for example, Jimmy Wales or Larry Page, different people, and
of course.
Direct
the real Larry Page.
The real Larry Page. I mean, yeah, and you can direct the questions to them, and who knows, they might just answer. So it's an amazing place. The kind of access technology has given us, it's amazing. It's phenomenal.
Right. Prateek, you feel otherwise. You feel the technology is bane, especially for students. Why?
So I'd like to add on to what Anirban said, that we have an access to technology and we can pose questions on Quora or whatever websites we have anonymously. But when it comes to schools, isn't the interaction between teachers and students decreasing because of that? So isn't the imaginative power of students decreasing because of that? So, because that makes them very social when they are interacting one-on-one with the teacher. It makes a lot of sense. There is a personal connection.
You're saying since children use technology, gadgets so much, the interaction aspect has doesn't exist anymore as it did back in the days, like 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Absolutely. As in the way we interacted with teachers back when I was in a school, and the way students interact with teachers today is very different. It's on a very upper level rather than on a personal level these days.
I agree with what Prateek is saying to some extent. I mean, I'm not saying take away the questioning part in schools. What I'm saying is technology is an addition to it. Think of it this way. If education, for example, is the car, technology is the nitro booster to it. I mean, you can go without the nitro boost. Yeah, technology makes it go fast. And of course, like, I'm not saying take away the questioning part in the class. I mean, there are things beyond the classroom which you might feel you want to know, you want to explore.
Right.
That's where technology comes in, and it's amazing. I mean,
so you don't feel it curtails the interaction, and you think that technology is just an addition?
Absolutely, absolutely yes, and absolutely not that it curtails the interaction. Moreover, if without the technology you are limited to connect with a certain group of people. With the help of technology, you can connect with somebody's graph. Your networking increases like 10 folds, like 100 folds probably.
But so that's not with real people. That's in the virtual world.
So even those people are real to some extent, and people are showing their real selves. They're starting to take this into account, and they are coming up in their real selves into the internet. So that's the change that's happening right now. Yeah.
Right. And we have all, to an extent, have definitely grown used to it. Well, Prateek, another thing which I feel, something which technology does is the fact that often it is argued that it acts as a distracting agent. So, do you feel that technology could be distracting in classrooms instead of helping students to learn better?
So I'll give an example that these days students carry mobiles in their classrooms. So obviously that's a distracting device. You cannot get the mobile devices to your classroom. But yeah, students are sneaking it in, which is again a problem in schools. Even after all the rules and regulations in place, students are sneaking it in and they are using it for any other purpose rather than education, which I guess is a distracting property, and it should be there has to be a line. There has to be a fine line between what is correct and what is not when I'm using a technology.
What can be allowed inside classrooms and what should not
absolutely.
be.
Right. So that doesn't make technology bad. In fact, I have a solution for that problem. If the schools try to install...
I hope all the teachers are listening to this and also parents.
So if the schools install technological jammers, people won't be able to use phones in their classroom. So technology can in fact help to eradicate that problem.
But,
so the technology is not at fault there. It's more about following rules there. I mean, there is a reason why people take phones and laptops. I mean, for example, in our college, it's encouraged to bring laptops in class, so that, for example, if certain things in a lecture full of 100 students, you have a certain lecture which you might have missed the other day, so you don't want to disturb the class each and every time for say anything, small things. So you just Google it, find it out. You can be able to connect things with the lecture in a much more question.
Anirban might not agree with us here, but well, maybe you can't use the phone to talk or message your friends, but you can definitely use to play a game on it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why people are using it in the classrooms.
Right, and also, I mean, 2012 Pew Internet Project Survey says that 87% of teachers feel that modern technologies were creating an easily distracted generation with short attention span.
Absolutely. I really agree with that, because even as you travel in metros or buses, public transport, you see teenagers carrying mobile phones, and they're not enjoying the ride at all. They're not enjoying the moment they are in, and they are all glued to whatever social network they are into. So the attention time span is decreasing. So, and you see how the marketing strategies are changing because of that. We are targeting customers accordingly, the teenagers accordingly, that you need only a 10-second grab which can attract customer. You can't have a 30-second grab now. So you see how drastically it has changed, that the concentration power, the learning power has decreased because of the distraction caused by the technology we are using, which was meant to be an addition to what we are doing. It is somehow taking us back.
He seems to be convinced that technology is not taking us into the future. It's in fact taking us back, like he said.
So I would agree on the fact that technology has probably reduced the attention span of students particularly, but that in a way has its own advantage. I mean, nowadays, as he rightly mentioned, that there have been different marketing strategies incorporated by corporations. So that in a way kind of adds to the whole fun of it. I mean, there's a new app called News in Shots. It gives you news in 60 words, and that's amazing. Who wants to read?
Apps, that's an interesting point. Whether you're someone who's in school and preparing for boards, or you're somebody who's preparing for competitive exams like CAT, ZAT, UPSC.
Absolutely.
There is an app for almost everything.
There's a question you don't know, you click a picture, it goes to a forum, somebody answers it, it's there.
And instead of going to a library like people used to do back in the days, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years ago, well, all you have to do is log on to the App Store, look for a suitable app. And that's a very convenient thing to do. So you can see that to an extent, technology.
So yeah, so
We'll come back to you, Prateek.
I would like to say that as in every coin has two sides. So there's a darker side, there is a brighter side. As in the way we look at it is what depends as in how we form the perspective about it. I am completely agreeing with the fact that there are apps and websites which are helping people to serve and get their answers at a click.
That note, we will conclude this debate. It's all a game of balancing. Whether you use technology for good or bad, that choice is yours. Thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.